Welcome back for another video. In this video we're going to look at the best players to buy for your FPL teams, looking at who's going to perform the best next game week and also over the next 5 game weeks for longer term planning. One of the worst game weeks of all time behind us, unexpected benchings, big hitters blanking, a lack of clean sheets and a few injuries, lots to discuss ahead of Game Week 12. The good news is that overall there are much better fixtures next game week, so it should be a better week. Starting with the goalkeepers, and let's discuss Turner first, who was one of those benchings. We speculated in last week's videos that this could happen after he made a mistake against Liverpool leading to a Salah goal. Wildcard started in goal and he kept a surprise clean sheet against Aston Villa, so he's the clear number 1 now. Cooper said it felt like the time for a change, and he said it was explained to Turner and he understood. So unfortunately it looks like it's the end of Turner as an option to play. You'd imagine Wildcard gets a run of games now, however he could switch back if he has a couple of bad games on the bounce, but it looks unlikely for the time being. Wright and Onana are top of the Game Week 12 projections among keepers, Wright home to Burnley and Onana's home to Luton. Whatever your opinion on the Arsenal vs Newcastle game is, Arsenal are going to feel like a complete disservice by the result and they'll be looking to rectify that, exactly like Liverpool in many ways after the VAR error in the Spurs game. So Wright for 4.8 mil, great option. However, just bear in mind that in Game Week 13 he can't play against Brentford because he's on loan from them. Areola's away to Burnley though, so not the end of the world if that's your keeper combo. Over the next 5, Alisson's top in the league with 19.6 points projected. Another surprise of last game week as Luton put one past him, beating Liverpool on the counter-attack. Next game week, Liverpool are home to Brentford. Johnston deserves a mention as well, who surprised us all this season. He's currently the top scoring keeper in the game with 49 points after 11 game weeks. They've got a decent block of fixtures ahead as well, with Everton and Luton, West Ham and Bournemouth up next. Besides all that, he's only had one price rise, 4.6 mil. Moving on to the defenders, and again let's discuss some of last game week's surprises. Cash is a big talking point this week, who was seen alerting the bench last match before being replaced. To add salt into the wound for owners, he came off at 59 minutes, which resulted in a 0-pointer. If he'd come off 1 minute later, that would have been a 1-pointer, which was basically a haul in Game Week 11. He appeared to pick up a shoulder injury. He's averaging 2.3 points per match over the last 4 game weeks. He's a definite sell if he's out for Game Week 12. If he's cleared to play, then Fulham home's a good fixture so you can hold him. Let's talk about replacements though. Arsenal are going to be heavy favourites for a clean sheet against Burnley. If you can find the 0.2 mil, Saliba's a standout. Last season he started every single game he was available up until his injury. In fact, he only came off early one time, which was in the 76th minute. That's continued this season, whereas if we look at Gabriel, there has been 4 benchings now. He'll still play the majority of games, but if you're yet to buy an Arsenal defender, or perhaps looking to sell cash to double up, then Saliba's great. If you already own Gabriel, he'll still play the majority of games. He could even start all league games for the rest of the year, but it might be an opportunity to hedge against the Gabriel owners. If you own Gabriel already, then it's 2 sideways to sell for Saliba, unless you've got a perfect team and 2 free transfers, which is unlikely. Trent's top of the Game Week 12 projections with 5.7 points. He played some brilliant balls in the Luton game and he came close to an attacking return on a couple of occasions. Tsimikas on the other hand, unexpectedly benched, so what do we do with him? It was in favour of Gomez, who started in left back. Given that Gomez is right footed and not a natural left back, they do bring something very different to the team when playing. And given the poor result, Klopp might revert back to Tsimikas. If you have him, you start him against Brentford. Brighton are home to Sheffield United, so Dunk is third on the defender projections with 4.6 points. Estupiñán wasn't fit enough to make the squad last game week, he's also 5 mil. Brighton are away to Ajax in Europa League on Thursday. If he gets a cameo off the bench, that could be the right sign to consider the attacking fullback over Dunk, perhaps as a cash replacement if he's out. Man United kept a clean sheet against Fulham. Well done to the Maguire owners, who was someone we discussed as a 4.2 enabler in earlier videos. He's got Luton this week, so it's still a reasonable option. Again, perhaps if Burn is out for Game Week 12, then you could go Burn to Maguire. Newcastle are away to Bournemouth, so Trippier's back in the projections with 4.3 points, off the back of a 9-pointer against Arsenal. Palace kept their 5th clean sheet of the season in Game Week 11, and this week they're home to Everton. Guehi and Mitchell, both great picks for 4.5 mil. Let's talk about the midfielders, and this week Salah's top with 6.9 points, however Saka's very close behind with 6.7, both of these great options for captaincy. Let us know in the comments who's your captain going to be for Game Week 12. Both Salah and Saka got home fixtures, Arsenal with the easier fixture of the two against Burnley, who are yet to keep a clean sheet this season. Arsenal have got really good fixtures from this week, so Saka is someone to prioritise with your Game Week 12 transfer plans. Their next 4 are Burnley, Brentford, Wolves and Luton. One observation to mention is Arsenal's attack has struggled a bit this season compared to last. They've had 24 big chances, which ranks 12th in the league. 14.8 non-penalty expected goals ranks 11th in the league. As we know, fixtures create form though. After an 11-pointer last game week, if you have Bruno, you surely keep hold before Luton at home. He's projected 6.4 points. Meanwhile, Rashford didn't make the squad at all last match, but imagine he could be back for Game Week 12. Mbeumo drops off the fixtures this week given he's playing at Anfield, but he was exceptional again last week, and if you don't own him, he's a transfer to keep at the back of your head for Game Week 14, which isn't that far away. They've got a run of games consisting of Luton, Brighton, Sheffield United and Aston Villa before the blank Game Week 18. Brighton at home to Sheffield United this week, so Mitoma and Gross make the table. De Zerbi's been using Mitoma and Adingra like wing backs recently at times, which isn't ideal, but they're still finding themselves in advanced positions, and it's likely as a consequence of having both March and Estupiñán out injured, so that could change soon. Gross has been playing more attacking recently in that formation, but he's not worth it over Mitoma for 0.2 mil less. Gordon's projected 4.2 points and he deserves a mention, getting the winner against Arsenal, and he's now got 4 goals, 4 assists, and he's only 5.7 mil, and he's got Bournemouth next. Newcastle haven't lost since Game Week 4. We saw Eze return for Crystal Palace, who's a nice budget option for 6.1 mil as well. Picked up an assist last match off the bench. Question is Maddison worth selling for Saka in Game Week 12, given Maddison's got Wolves? Saka is fairly ahead of him this week in the projections and over the next 5, so in theory it is a move worth making. However, Son and Saka are even over the next 5, so that's a sideways move. Let's quickly discuss Doku as well before we talk Haaland. 1 goal and 4 assists last match, it was absolutely electric. 22 points, which has turned a few heads. Is he worth it for 6.6 mil? Given their upcoming fixtures, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham and Villa, perhaps not. He reminds me of Mahrez when he was at City, an explosive option if you're willing to take on the rotation risk that comes with it. He's going to be a very popular pick when the double game weeks roll around later in the season. However, Pep may favour Grealish in some of those upcoming games for control, like in the Man United game. The likes of Mbeumo, Bowen and Mitoma may fare better over the next 4 in that same price bracket. On to the forwards, a lot to unpack again after Game Week 11. Haaland substituted off at half-time with an ankle injury. Will Haaland be back next game week? Do we sell him? Post-match, Pep said, "It was a twist in the ankle. We didn't want to take any risks with him. He didn't feel comfortable. He'll be back maybe Tuesday, but maybe next Sunday." So given the comments about Tuesday being a possibility, it sounds like a minor injury. If he's out, Wilson actually tops the Game Week 12 projections. With Isak still sidelined for a few weeks, he could actually be a great short-term punt. Watkins is second with 5.5 points, and then it's Haaland with 5.3. However, Haaland's projections here are based on the assumption that he plays 80 minutes. I tweaked his minutes to 80 for a useful comparison for captaincy purposes, and both Salah and Saka are ahead of him for Game Week 12. But at the end of the day, it is Haaland. He's a perfectly fine set and forget captain, and you can never account for an unexpected injury like that. Very unlucky if you went for him captain. 6.4 million of us did captain him, 149,000 triple captain him. In the end, there were no winners, with Salah and Watkins blanking as well, who were the second and third most popular captains. I do think when something like a Haaland one-pointer happens, it is an opportunity. Mentally it can play tricks on many managers, as they'll think, oh, he only got 1 point last week and he's yellow flagged. The reality of the situation is it was an injury, and had he stayed on, he surely would have got something, given they scored another 3 without him. So Haaland captain's a big opportunity, assuming he's fit for Game Week 12. The other side of the coin is, assuming he is fit, Man City still have a tough run of 4 games, so you can make the case for no Haaland, which we saw work for those that went for it back in Game Week 8. If you own Haaland and not Salah, then it's a combination move you could consider for the next 4, but it goes without saying it's always risky with his high ownership and explosiveness. Nketiah is projected 5 points this week. He's a great cheap forward to consider. He is a downgrade on what Jesus brings to the team, but he's a selfish striker, which is good for FPL, and it is a fixture he could absolutely do well in against Burnley, much like the Sheffield United game a couple of weeks ago. Back-to-back benchings for João Pedro, so it's a transfer route to consider. Jesus could be back after the international break, so just bear in mind that you might only get 2 or 3 games out of Nketiah. If this video was helpful, hit that subscribe button. There's more great FPL content to come this week. See you soon for the next one.